Hello and welcome back to another YouTube video. Today I'm going to be covering the patch 13.3 meta update. So without further ado, let's get into it. To begin with, we're going to be talking about Annie. Annie is the strongest champion on this patch. She is overpowered. She'll probably get hotfixed because most champs don't survive in a state worse than her, let alone at a 57% win rate. So the main strength of Annie is the fact that her shield's become a lot more potent and Tibbers has become a lot more powerful as well. So what they do with Tibbers, they increase his movement speed and gave him some stat scalers with AP. And Annie's shielding got more damage on the reflect and overall shield power. This was really powerful. That combined with the stun on start has made her really, really strong. Her massive amounts of scaling, her early is still relatively the same. Mainly the stun on the start is the big thing here. The Liandry's into Rylai's is going to be the core build path. Rylai's for the slow on Tibbers combined with Liandry's makes him really powerful. The shielding can also proc both of these. When someone hits it with a spell, the reflect it gets hit by this. Rising pick on ban, so definitely play it. And it will probably get hotfix nerfed either today or tomorrow, I imagine. So definitely make sure you're playing it. Really, really strong at the moment. Can be free LP. But is probably the best way to get LP. Maokai and Udyr still dominate the jungle. Both these champs hold around a 54-55% win rate. Maokai has stayed strong for a while now. He'll probably get nothing in this patch. I reckon the same will go for Udyr. Maokai can go either Phase Rush or First Strike. Phase Rush go for the more like Radiant focus builds. First Strike for the more AP heavy builds. Phase Rush does work with the AP builds, but for the most part, just run Phase Rush. It works a lot better. And First Strike does ramp harder, but it doesn't come online until later into the game once you've got like your Demonics, your Liandry's. So yeah, Demonics is going to be your core item into either Radiant or Liandry's, depending on whether you want to be more survivable or have more damage. Then Night Harvester is also rising in popularity. We'll have to see how this one goes. It strikes me as not being a bad item for Maokai, but the value of it is kind of similar to Liandry's in terms of it does a lot of damage. Whether you prefer to have the burn or the one-time kind of burst might be depending on rune choices and team comp, but it has a good win rate at the moment, so we'll have to see how that one goes. High chance Night Harvester is a really good Maokai mythic into squishier comps. Udyr, Run Conqueror, he's really strong with this rune. Demonics is going to be his core item first. Nothing really comes close. And then either into Radiant or Jaxo. Even after the changes, Radiant is probably still his best mythic. Jaxo is pretty bad at the moment. You can't really go this item until like 3rd or 4th. So I will still recommend Radiant. And make sure you go Ghost and Swifties. You really want to stick yourself to people. That is your main damage output. Just being able to get the Demonics bar and ticks going. So definitely make sure you're running Ghost Swifties. And last thing I wanted to talk about in this video was Jarvan and Nautilus. Both are really big winners of the patch. Jarvan running Conqueror, Red Smite, lots of damage through both these runes and itemization. Ravenous looks really promising as his best item, first or second. Gold Drinker is his main mythic. Cleaver, DD, and GA can round out your build. You can swap out DD for like a more. You don't really have many other choices. There's a chance that Spit with Shojin can work, but for the most part, these are going to be your 3 other items. And you really don't want to go past 3rd. He falls off a cliff. This champ has an incredibly big curve towards the late game. He will just continue to fall and plummet, like from a 64% win rate pre-15 all the way down to sub 50%. So make sure you're closing games. It's similar to Rek'Sai. You don't want games to drag on. Nautilus, Glacial Aftershock, both these perform almost identical to each other. Glacial, of course, for more sticking power. Aftershock for more survivability. Even Shroud, not Locket. Locket is really bad. It's a really bait item on most champions. It has more value if you know how to use the active, like in a good spot. And even then, I still recommend Even Shroud. It just has a lot of value. Radiant might still be his best mythic. There's a chance of this, but if you want to play it safe for the moment, go Even Shroud. Probably a 56% win rate on this item, so nothing to sleep on. Nautilus is one of the strongest supports on this patch, so definitely try playing him. Second item, make sure you're going Zeeks or Knights. Don't go Formel. Formel isn't very good, especially on Nautilus. It's better on champs which stack a lot of armor preemptively and then can build into it quite nicely, or into games where you need a lot of anti. I definitely still will recommend Zeeks and Knights. So those are the main things I want to cover. 3 really strong junglers at the moment. Nautilus is a big winner of the patch, and Annie is really overpowered. Kassadin did take a hit this patch, so he's not as strong as he was. brought him to a fairly relatively balanced state. If I have a look at the other champs real quick, most supports kind of stayed power neutral, even with their buffs. Kayle also didn't really get anything with her buffs. Rakan Q max might be an option. He did get a lot of benefits out of that. Kayn, also not performing too badly, was quite a nice buff for him. Trundle is probably the other big winner of this patch. The W cooldown was quite nice for him. There is a chance W max Trundle is the best way to go at it. Aso looks interesting. Aso is probably overpowered. We'll have to see how it goes though. He's sat at around a 51% win rate at the moment, and that usually rises with the patch, but we'll have to see because I believe he has a fairly high, fairly steep learning curve. Amumu jungle did take a hit. It's still really powerful in low elo especially. Amu's support took a bigger hit. Cassante took a really big hit. Zac jungle took a really big hit. Not as hard as top and mid didn't really take much of a hit. And yeah, Kassadin did take quite a big hit. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.